So the ideal cleat position needs to match your riding physiology. That's the most efficient use of your body and legs working together. And it just so happens that that point is around about where your ball of the foot is over the axle of the pedal.
By adjusting the cleat, the ball of the foot can be slightly forward from or back from the axle centre. Making an adjustment in this direction is called the Q factor. And swinging the heel in and out is called the arc. Find out where the ball of your foot is. First, palpate the inside of your foot and find the bony protuberance that sticks out the most. Do this on both feet. Now do the same thing along the outside line of your feet. Between these 2 points is the centre line of the ball of the foot. Notice that it's not straight, it's slightly diagonal. The bulky or fleshy part of the foot along this line is the ball of the foot. And when we push down on the pedal, the force distribution on the sole of the foot is like this, highlighted in yellow. Now let's have a look at the inside or medial view of the bones of the foot. This red line marks the centre of the ball of the foot from the inside. Notice that your toes or phalanges are a lot smaller than the metatarsal, and that the centre line of the ball of the foot is on the metatarsal. Notice how the bone in this area also protrudes downwards. It actually gets thicker all around. So for good reason, the ball of the foot can exert more force than the phalanges. So basically, the line of the strongest part of the ball of the foot lies behind every toe joint. Try it for yourself. Standing on the balls of the feet, exerting pressure downwards is relatively easy. But now try using your toes to exert force down. A lot harder, a lot more stress. Putting the centre of force from your pedal here would make sense. Sliding your cleat forward and riding on your toes now puts pressure on the phalanges joint. Now your tendons have to work harder to brace the phalanges for the greater force at this point. Also, there's an increased leverage length to the ankle joint. This puts more stress on the Achilles tendon. In turn, the Achilles tendon is directly connected to the calf muscle or gastrocnemius. A person pedaling in this manner often experiences cramp in the calf muscle. Now if you were to slide the cleat back, this would put the pressure behind the centre of the ball of the foot. The pressure is no longer on the phalanges metatarsals joint, and the leverage length to the ankle bone is shorter as well. So this would be a much preferred cleat position than having it too far forward. If you set the cleat too far back, you may experience pain in the arch of your foot. So if you prefer to ride with your cleat a bit back, and you experience some pain in the arch of your foot, just move the cleat a little bit more forward. This picture shows the good position of the foot over the axle of the pedal. So unless you've got a good reason, it would be a no-no to pedal with the toes. And riding with the cleat back is a much safer option. So anywhere between this position and having the ball of your foot directly over the pedal axle is much preferred. If you're new to clipless pedals, give yourself between 3 to 6 months before you decide on a good cleat position for yourself. So now we can see why it's so important to locate those bony protuberances at the sides of our foot. So arc is the heel swing, left or right from a line of centre. This pair of feet are perfectly aligned. How are yours? When you walk or stand naturally, do your heels kick out, often called pigeon-toed? Or perhaps your heels kick in and your toes point out? And don't be alarmed if just one heel kicks in or out. None of us are perfect. It may mean, though, that you need to adjust the arc of your cleat. If you're not sure how your feet perform in this respect, jump up and down on the spot. Just do small jumps, and be relaxed. And as you look down, note the position of your feet. You'll soon notice a persistent toes out or toes in on either one or both of your feet. Here you can see I'm relatively even. Take your time doing this. It's time well spent. Look cleats come in 3 different amounts of arc. 9 degrees, it's the red one. The grey one, the most common, is 4.5 degrees, and no arc for the black one. This shoe is fitted with the grey cleat, and you can see the amount of arc or float that the shoe has. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the limits of the arc. So adjust the cleat of each individual shoe so that your foot swings within the arc comfortably without coming to the limits of the arc. Make sure this is the case for a full rotation of the pedals, and you'll need to do this on the road. I'm just showing you on this stationary bike for the purpose of this video. The Q factor is basically how far out your feet are from the center of your bike. The 2 basic determining factors are the width of your hips or pelvic area and the style of riding that you're going to be doing. Here you can see a more recreational cyclist will be riding with feet further out. A more competitive cyclist would ride with feet further in, or a smaller Q factor. It's not something you need to overly worry about. Bicycle manufacturers set a Q factor with the bicycle's intended purpose in mind.
Look cleats also have a good feature called a memory pad or a memory clip. When you've worn out your cleat and you want to replace it with a new one, the memory clip stays on the shoe. When you put your new cleat on, it's automatically realigned to the exact position your old cleat was. So it's no fussing around having to realign everything. The only thing is you need a shoe with a central hole, like that. If you don't have that central hole or slot, you can't use memory clip option. If you have, let's have a look how to use it. So removing the washers and the bolts, you now have just the plastic cleat, and underneath that black thing here, that's the memory clip or memory pad. Push on here, the central little rubber thing, and it comes out. Then separate the 2 pieces. That's actually the pad and that's the clip. This clip we need to attach to the shoe, that slot. To do that, you should have included in your shoes a little screw like that. It's a rather fine threaded short screw. Simply line up the clip and put the screw into the hole provided. There should be a hole you can see. That's actually the nut on the other end, or the thread. Make sure the cleat is facing upwards, same as you extracted it from the cleat, and just do it up, not tight, but just so it still moves a little bit, but still is a little bit firm. Then your cleat goes over the top of that. Then you install the washers and the bolts from there. So go around and install all of that. Once you've done that, go through the process of lining up your cleat as we've just discussed. After you've done that, and you've got the exact position of your cleat, you can now tighten up the small Phillips head or screw on the clip, memory clip. Quite nice and tight. Once you're sure of that, you actually undo all 3 of the bolts again. And take them off completely, and the cleat. Then install the little memory pad itself, the pad. Just put it in, and then when you put your cleat on, you can feel it drops straight into the exact position. Then you just put your washers back in and your bolts back on and tighten them all up, and then that's it. One thing that can happen between your pedal and your cleat is squeaks and creaks, annoying. So there could be any number of things. but here's a few ideas that it could be and how to cure it.
Lubrication will stop creaks and squeaks, but don't use spray lubes, oil or grease. Use beeswax. It's not affected by moisture and doesn't attract dirt. Firstly, give the pressure plate a good coating. Then around and under the front lip of the cleat, and then around and under the back lip of the cleat. Extract the memory clip and pad, and as dirt doesn't get to this area, you can use grease. You can use either grease or beeswax on the underside of the cleat washers. The contact area between the cleat and the sole of the shoe should definitely not be greased or oiled, but you can use beeswax. If you need to soften the beeswax to apply, use mineral terps.
That about wraps it up for 2 videos on look cleats. I hope you found the information useful. If you've got any comments, leave that below, that'd be great. And if you've got any ideas for other videos we could do, that'd be really good. Let us know as well. Please subscribe, click on the cow here in the corner, and we'll see you soon.